Purchasing a house, it's a big deal, but it's crucial that you avoid a property that could lead to major problems for you down the line. And that's why I'm doing this video here for you. I'm Jerry Pincus, your real estate expert. After helping thousands of people successfully move, I have seen the bad, the good, and the ugly. And I'm here to help you to avoid those costly pitfalls. Now here's 10 ways that you might be buying a bad house. I don't want you to do this. Number 10, structural issues. Structural issues are one of the biggest warning signs that you're about to buy a bad house. So you can quickly walk through a property and it's going to reveal visible cracks in the foundation, the walls, the ceilings, and a lot of times you can see this stuff. These are signs that you can tell whether the structure is in good condition or it's not. So if you notice any large cracks in load-bearing walls or horizontal cracks, that's a big red flag. You might also notice sagging floors or ceilings or floors that are uneven. And this could lead to foundation problems, and those aren't cheap to fix. Another red flag is doors and windows that won't open or close properly. Now, a lot of times this might be an alignment issue, but there's a good chance that the weak structure underneath of it has shifted the house over time, and this affects the frame of the structure itself. And this can also be a sign of water damage too, but in that case, you're going to be dealing with a leak that's been weakening that structure for years. So you're going to need a structural engineer to inspect that property if you see that kind of stuff before you buy it. And they can tell you whether it's just cosmetic or it's something more serious. Number 9, water damage. Now this is another big indicator that you're about to buy a bad house. So when you visit the house, on the inspection, look for signs of water stains, mold, mildew, especially in the basement, the ceilings, and around windows. Sometimes you won't see these signs, but you could smell them. If you smell musty smells or a discoloration on the walls or the ceilings, don't ignore that stuff. You also want to take a look at the gutters and the downspouts outside, because if they're clogged or in poor condition, they may not be redirecting water away from the house, which can lead to serious drainage problems. Take a look at the property disclosure. Now sometimes sellers won't list this stuff, and I call that lying, but you really have to use your senses to see if you have any past water damage or repairs. You know, they might have painted over those walls or hidden that stain, and that's not going to fix that core issue. Again, a home inspector with experience in water damage detection can tell you if there's any potential problems here before you make that decision to buy. Number 8 is outdated electrical systems. Now the next sign that you're buying a bad house is an electrical system that's outdated. It's not just about safety, guys. It's the long-term costs and the hidden risks that might not be obvious right away. So let's say that house still has a fuse box instead of a modern breaker panel. That's a sign the electrical system hasn't been updated in decades. This also indicates that there's other issues with this house, like outdated wiring behind the walls, and they're not properly grounded probably. So if you see flickering lights in rooms between the outlets or electrical system that might not be able to handle a load today, this can point to a serious problem that can even pose a fire hazard. So the electrical panel in the house is smaller than 100 amps. You probably need to upgrade that, especially if you plan to add any appliances or any additions to the home in the future. And these upgrades can be costly. In some cases, it involves rewiring that entire house. And you know what that is? Money. Number 7, pest infestation. Now, the issue here is that termites can silently destroy a wooden structure of a home, sometimes years before any noticeable damage appears. So by the time you start seeing things like hollow sounding beams, it's already way too late, and these repairs could cost tens of thousands of dollars. Even small signs like mud up against the foundation of the house, this can indicate a bigger problem that's been festering for a while. But pests are like rodents, and they multiply quickly, which means a small infestation can turn into a big problem before you know it. And it's not just a one-time fix. You know, these pests can come back costing you more in the long run. So you want to make sure you know what you're getting into with any pest issues before buying that house. Number 6, unusual smells. Now, especially if you notice a persistent or a musty or chemical smells, unusual smells in the house, don't ignore this stuff. There could be mold issues or poor ventilation, or sometimes it's even worse. For example, if you smell a musty odor, this could be a sign that mold is in the walls or in less visible areas of the house. And fixing this could require tearing out the walls, replacing insulation, and it's going to take a huge chunk of your money. Some sellers, they tend to hide visible mold by simply painting over the affected areas. So don't rely on just what you see. So if you notice a strong odor of paint or cleaning products or even air fresheners, it could be a sign the seller's trying to hide something. And this could be anything from smoke damage to mold or even pest-related issues. Number 5, neglected maintenance. Now sometimes this can be a deal and sometimes this can be a true headache. So if the interior or exterior is run down, or if you see the roof is visibly damaged, could lead to more things on the inside. Just think about it. Let's say the gutters are filled up with debris and the interior of the home hasn't really been that well maintained. You may think this is cosmetic, but you got to get deeper into the issues because some of these are simple and some of them are not that simple. The previous owner may not have taken care of the yard properly, and that could lead to maintenance issues because they probably didn't take care of the HVAC system or the plumbing properly either, right? So when you see signs of neglect on the outside or the inside, just realize there's probably more negligence in other invisible areas of the house. Number 4, high turnover in an area. Now the next sign that you're potentially buying a bad house is when there's high turnover in the area. You may notice in that neighborhood that there's a lot of homes that have been changing hands recently. Could be a major red flag. You need to know what's going on. Now people move for various reasons, but if there's a pattern of people selling quickly, it's worth looking into deeper. You always want to look beyond the surface. Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. Why are so many people leaving? Is there construction about to happen? Or is there any other issues? You want to ask the questions. Number 3, poor location. This is probably one of the most important aspects when buying, and it's probably one of the first things that first-time home buyers, they tend to ignore. You need to think about how this location is going to fit into your daily life. Is the commute reasonable? Are the schools well rated? Is there access to amenities like grocery stores, hospitals? Are you going to have to drive a long distance? And it could be a major inconvenience down the road, and it's going to impact the resale value of that property later on. Now additionally, some neighborhoods, they have strict homeowners associations, which can negatively affect your living experience. So you need to make sure that this location fits your needs now and in the future. Think 5 years, 10 years in the future, because once you're locked in, moving isn't as easy as you think it is. Number 2, unclear title history. Now this is the same as walking into a minefield. Is the property had any sort of unresolved legal claims or liens or undue debts? It's the new homeowner who's going to be responsible to take care of this stuff. You don't want these headaches. In some cases, it might be disputes over property boundaries, which lead to future headaches down the road, or neighbors challenging you every time you go outside your house. And this can bring up big legal complications to prevent you from getting full ownership of that house. So before you sign anything, make sure you get a thorough title search and ensure that there are no hidden claims or restrictions, no unpaid taxes, no debts, anything that could potentially complicate that sale. Now here in South Carolina, it's an attorney state, so an attorney always does that work for you. But other states, they don't have that. Number 1, inspection red flags. Now look, inspection report is one of those critical documents that you're going to come across, and it reveals serious concerns, and this should be a huge red flag if you see any major things on this. Structural issues, mold, outdated systems. They aren't just things that you can just brush off, and these things can be an expensive fix that can make living in the house unsafe as well. So always take the time to really study that house, that inspection report. And if there's too many problems, it's a strong sign that you may want to reconsider putting that purchase offer in. One of the biggest tips that you're going to hear from seasoned home buyers is that always hire your own inspector. Never rely on the seller's agent to provide one. Why? Well, some agents, they're going to recommend inspectors who they know, who will easily go to the property, and that's the last thing that you want. Now imagine moving into your dream home, and then you discover that the foundation is cracked or the electrical wiring is faulty and things that should have been caught through the inspection. So you want to try to be present during the inspection as well. Walk through that house with the inspector and pay close attention to what they're looking at. Some inspectors, they might gloss over potential issues. So ask questions in real time as to what they see. Ask them how to maintain different parts of the home as they go. Because spending $300 or $500 on these extra inspections can save you thousands of dollars down the road, especially when you're putting hundreds of thousands of dollars into the purchase of your home. But ultimately, trust your instincts. If something just doesn't feel right, better to walk away. And I hope you found this video helpful. Just go ahead and make sure you share this with your friends or your family or anybody you know who could use this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm Jerry with Jerry Pincus Real Estate Experts, here to help you find your hidden gem and avoid the pitfalls that are costly. My team has been doing this for over 20 years. If you're thinking about buying or selling a property here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, or anywhere in the United States, we can hook you up with the local expert. Just give us a call at 843-839-9870. So until next time, stay happy, stay educated, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.